Hi Capricorn and Capricorn Rising, this is your December 2016 forecast. So until the 21st of December, the Sun is going to be in your 12th house, and this is because the Sun in Sagittarius is in the shadow part of your chart for the first 3 weeks of December, after which the Sun will go into your first house at the end of the month for the last week. But these first 3 weeks when the Sun is in the 12th house, it's really a period of reflection and review where you're reassessing things that you've been involved with, concluding old business. It's the typical cycle before you start a new birthday cycle when the Sun goes into your first house, and of course it's your birthday month. So this is also about recharging your batteries and, just reviewing the year that's come before and revising your commitments and considering what commitments you want to take on in the year ahead. And this precedes the Sun going into your first house, which is happening at the end of December, which is going to signal the start of a much more extroverted phase. Where you're really projecting yourself onto your environment, you're confident, you're assertive, you're full of vitality and vigor. So a more forceful presentation, making an impression on other people, going after what you want, having clear objectives. But for the first 3 weeks, it's really about considering what those objectives are. Getting in touch with yourself, discarding things that aren't useful to you anymore, and clearing the decks for new action. Saturn, of course, has been in your 12th house and will be for another year, so there's still a lot of planning and review happening in the background, considering long-term future plans. But the start of new things is happening this month with Jupiter and Saturn making a very favorable aspect, and also Uranus and Jupiter making a very favorable aspect in your career houses and houses of personal property, home, and environments. So some of you may find this is affecting your changes of residence or affecting your professional life. You're able to kind of experience new freedom from restriction, and possibilities are opening up. For some of you, this may be professional advancement, recognition for your hard work and accomplishments. For others, it could be as radical as a change of home environment, living situation, or purchasing a home. So let's see how this works out for you. And of course, Mercury goes retrograde this month, and it's going to be retrograding in your sign of Capricorn in your first house. So this does tie into that theme of, going over projects, negotiations, business commitments, seeing where you stand on things, gathering more information, making sure of yourself and your decisions. And again, this could have to do with, things that affect your career or things that affect your personal or home life. So this is where you want to be very sure of yourself, go over all your plans and schemes, because for you it's always all about cautious advancement and progress. So you're being very careful and circumspect at this time before you really launch something big and new in your life. And like I said, for some it could be professional, and for some it could be in terms of home and property. So Venus and Mars will be in your second house of finances in the middle of the month. So here, Venus and Mars together can spend quite a bit of money, but it can also generate a lot of income. So you may find yourself buying a lot of presents and spending money on other people, but Mars is going to be driving you to actually make more money as well and open up new financial avenues. And Venus could attract some lucky breaks for you in this respect. But certainly you'll have to watch your spending, because Venus isn't always all that practical. It likes to spend on luxury, good things like good clothes, food, wine. You may also decide to invest in some art or objects of beauty for the home. And, Mars in the third is really and when later in the month, Mars will be moving into the third house. And here Mars picks up the tempo of day-to-day affairs. And actually at the same time when Mars goes into your third house, Mercury is going retrograde in your first. So, changes of routine, like reshuffling things, like so. Mars is picking up the tempo, but Mercury is going over details and making you very sure and, conscientious about any choices that you make in terms of changing up your routine. Okay, so let's look at what else is happening this month. On the 1st, Mars is trining Jupiter, and Jupiter, of course, is in your 10th house of career. So this is great for launching business projects and business schemes. You're really able to advance your interests very well at this time. It's good for business activity because your mind is very clear, you're acting out of your own best interests. So you're very decisive, and you can think about what's best for you. So this is very good for business and for making money professionally as well, because your second house is involved, and also opening up your resources to get ahead professionally. And this is going to be balanced out on the 3rd when Mars sextiles Saturn. This is all about practicality, tangibility, making things concrete. So here it's delayed gratification, working very hard, and conscientiously in a tangible way. So it's not just about optimism and having that kind of pip and vim and bounce. You're thinking in a serious, sober and reflective and cautious manner, and able to accomplish the work that needs to be done to get those business projects off the ground. So on the 6th, Mars is sextiling Uranus, and this can make you a little bit impatient with your day-to-day routine. This can also affect property concerns and the home and family members. So this can make you impatient with family members, or want to, move into like a new territory in terms of perhaps even changing home environments or changing things up in home environments. On the 9th, the Sun is sextiling Jupiter, and the Sun, of course, is still in your 12th house and Jupiter's in your 10th. So there's that combination of working behind the scenes and, like evaluating your professional commitments. But at the same time, this aspect is very lucky and optimistic, and it can have you, reviewing your ideals and your goals, professionally speaking, and, want you to be more independent in your professional pursuits. So also good for business, although for you it's going to happen in a slightly different way with the Sun in the 12th. So working hard behind the scenes, but professional advancement nonetheless. So on the 10th, Mercury is sextiling Neptune in your 3rd house, and this is a very stimulating, creative aspect. It puts you in touch with your intuition, it makes you more sensitive, and so perhaps this could be communications with family members, siblings, neighbors. So it's going to make you more sensitive to other people, and it's also going to be inspiring you to be more creative in terms of projects that you're involved with. So this is not so much a logical and precise aspect as it is good for creative writing, creative ideas, and sensitivity to other people. So on the 10th, the Sun is conjuncting Saturn in your 12th house, and the Sun and Saturn together, can really bring duties, obligations, and responsibilities to the fore. And of course, some aspects of mastery in life are knowing which duties to fulfill and which to let go of or delegate. So which responsibilities are yours and which are other people. The Sun and Saturn together can also, make you it can bring a lot of accomplishment professionally as well. So, you may find that you're receiving recognition for work that you've done, things that you've been working on come to fruition. So it can be good for professional advancement, and for you it will be possibly on things that you've been working on behind the scenes. So on the 12th of December, the Sun trines Uranus between your 12th and your 4th house. So, this always brings that desire for novelty, for new experiences, for taking risks. And again, this is Uranus in your 4th house, where it's been bringing a lot of changes in terms of your living environment, your personal and emotional life and interaction with families. So this can show some switching up. It could possibly be changes again of residence or considering such things. So making a move perhaps in terms of property and investment. So the full moon on the 14th of December is going to be in your 6th house. And here, this is where you look at duties and responsibilities in the workplace. It's also the house of health. So often what happens when you've got the Sun in the 12th and the full moon in your 6th house, it's you're considering what you want to keep in your life and what you want to let go of. And because of the aspects with Saturn and this full moon, it's that juggling of responsibilities, perhaps these are responsibilities that you have in work. You may feel a little bit overloaded, like you need to get a little bit of the stuff off your plate and share out those responsibilities and duties. So on the 19th of December, Mercury is going retrograde in your 1st house. And of course, Mercury retrograde can always bring those traditional miscommunications, misunderstandings. And so you want to be very clear in your communications with other people. You want to back up all your professional, data, so that those things don't get lost. In the 1st house, Mercury can be quite strong when it's retrograde, but for you I think it's really about those objectives, the direction that your life is taking. So, you're really trying to assess the choices that you're making now that are going to lead you into the future, because some very exciting aspects are coming up. The sun is moving into your first house on the 21st of December. So here is that more extroverted push. You're feeling confident, self-assertive. Mercury still has just gone retrograde. So, but it's in your first house. So there's still lots of communications, happening that are being initiated by you, going over old business, finishing up business. And it is really that time of year. So on the 24th, Saturn is trining Uranus, and this is an aspect that we'll see again in 2017. This is very progressive, it has you pushing for new skills and mastering new techniques. And, so Saturn is that element, that planet, your ruling planet, that has all to do with restrictions, consistency, cautiousness, and groundwork, foundations. And Uranus is progressive, stimulating change and growth in new directions. So changes at this time can be, because it's a favorable aspect, changes that were initially challenging can be integrated in a way where they're actually part of normal day-to-day routine. So you'll probably find that for you, this aspect is going to be bringing that structured, disciplined work, but with new skills and new directions and new techniques and, mastery over new areas. So it's really the best of both worlds. So on the 25th of December, Venus, the planet of love, luxury, having a good time, leisure, and relaxation, is having a very favorable aspect with Jupiter. It's in trine, and it's sextiling Uranus and Saturn. So this is very good for relaxing, socializing, enjoying yourself, putting your feet up, connecting with people, going to parties. So whether you celebrate Christmas or not, this is really a good day for those things. With Venus and Mars having being in your second house, you could be showing a lot of generosity to other people, to family members. So, perhaps very generous in your gift giving, sharing, and really enjoying the spirits of the season in that respect. On the 26th, Jupiter is opposing Uranus from the 10th to your 4th house. So this is a very strong placement for this potent aspect that we'll see more of in 2017. So Jupiter opposing Uranus in your 10th and your 4th house, this can show, opportunities for professional advancement, recognition. For some, it could be, something like your bonus comes in, so thanks a lot for all the hard work that you've done. We really appreciate you. And with Uranus in the 4th, this could also be in relation to home and property. And so, again, could show some changes in terms of that. Some restrictions lifting, possibility for new freedom in terms of living situations. So things could be changing up in your private domestic life and home situation and property matters, or professional advancements can materialize. So unexpected opportunities to improve your circumstances in these areas can really present themselves. On the 28th, the Sun sextiles Mars, and this is a very high energy aspect. It's between your 1st and your 3rd house. So this aspect is good for work, it's good for health, it's good for injecting, energy and physical activity in your day-to-day routine. So it helps you take the initiative and helps you be self-assertive. So if you need to sell yourself and your ideas with Mars in the 3rd, this is very good for that. And Mars is going to be in your 3rd house for the last week of December, and this is very good for presenting yourself in a confident, assertive way, for selling your ideas persuasively. You're very sure of yourself, and if nothing else, it's very good for starting like an exercise routine and integrating that sort of thing, because you'll be feeling quite high energy and, ready to get things off the ground. So on the 29th, we have the new moon in Capricorn, and this is, of course, your sign. So here we've got the sun, moon, and that retrograde Mercury all lined up in your 1st house. So this is really forging a new direction for you. And of course, your sign Capricorn is all about practical reality, what you need to do to really get things done, tangible results. So with these things lining up, like the sun, moon, and Mercury in your 1st house, you're really wanting to be sure about your objectives, your direction. you know, you're feeling, when the sun is in your first house, you really are more connected to your sense of identity, purpose. So, you know, use this inspiration for making those practical, considered changes, you know, so that you can really radically reshuffle your life if that's what you want to do. With a sextile to Mars, it's also going to give you the energy to take some risks and take some initiatives. So once you're sure of yourself, you'll really be able to launch your ideas with a lot of confidence and panache. So the month wraps up with the Sun sextiling Neptune and Mars conjuncting Neptune in your third house. So these aspects are very good for charitable acts, altruistic activity, for giving back. And for you, the third house is neighbors, siblings, close family members. So you're more sensitive to others, you feel like giving back, you feel like doing some good deeds and some service at this time of year. Anyway, I hope you have a great December and Happy New Year. Thanks for listening.